What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, hello and welcome to Throwback Thursday. This is a series on my channel that I started as a way to get some Musia, the older eyeshadow palettes in my collection. So the way this works is every Sunday I post a bonus video here on my channel. It's just footage of me going through my entire collection and pulling out 4 palettes that y'all will have to choose from. From there, I post a poll over my community section with the names and pictures of each of the palettes. I give y'all a few days to vote, and that brings us to here. Now, there are a couple of stipulations to how this works. Number 1, I always try to make sure the palettes you'll have to choose from are still currently available. Sometimes I miss them. It is what it is. I am human. But number 2, we only play with palettes that came out in previous years. So nothing that released in 2024 will be included in Throwback Thursday. Those will roll in next year. But let's jump into this week's winner. So the numbers are in, the polls have spoken, and our winner is Lands of Enchantment from Ensley Rain. And this is a beautiful palette. I had a feeling this is the one that was going to win. I feel like Ensley Rain is a really popular brand. They just get so much attention, and for good reason. They have a beautiful formula. They have a wonderful color story selection. Their artwork is beautiful. I know a lot of it is AI and people have feelings on that, but it is what it is. It doesn't make me love the formula and the color stories any less, but I am really excited to play with this one this week. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet, so I'm just going to kind of wing it, but I will have this palette as well as everything else that I use in this video to complete this look listed and linked down below in that description box. So per usual, if you're ever curious about anything I use in any of my videos here on my channel, always check down there because I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. But without further ado, let's go ahead and zoom in, prime my eyes, and to get to creating this week's look. Alright, so we are zoomed in, my eyes are primed and ready to go, and for primer today, I actually went in with one of the Danessa Myricks color fixes. These are the waterproof liquid pigments for eyes, lips, and cheeks. I have the matte white one, and I absolutely love this for an eyeshadow primer. It's pigmented, it dries down, it is budge proof, and eyeshadows lay really nicely on over top, so I thought it would be fun to pull in a white one to go with this palette today since we're going to be playing with some pastels. So let's do our look. So my first instinct is always to go in with purples, but I want to change it up a little bit. I'm really kind of feeling pink and green for this one, and I think I want to keep it a little bit more on the light side. This shade over here, this really pretty multi-chrome, is calling my name. I also love this one over here for an inner corner, so I'm kind of leaning in towards that direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this shade up here. This one is called Nodal Shift. It's a really pretty, like, light baby pink color. So I'm going to pick that up with my Singe Beauty EO2 brush, and I am going to pop this into the inner corner and just start off this look. Now, I do want to apologize if I sound a little raspy or stuffed up, anything like that. We have been a little under the weather over here since, I guess, Friday is when everything started. My youngest son came home from school on Friday and he just wasn't feeling good. He said a lot of kids at school were sick and not feeling good, and you know, it's that time of year. We've had weather changes, things are going around, but of course he woke up Saturday feeling completely fine. That child never gets sick, and when he does, it doesn't last very long. But on Sunday, me and my oldest son started feeling sick, and my oldest is actually still sick. I've been kind of back and forth, like on a roller coaster. Like, I don't feel good, and then I feel fine, and then it's like, oh, am I coming down with something? And today I'm kind of feeling it a little bit, but there was no way I was missing a Throwback Thursday video. It was not going to happen on my watch. I would have to be in bed, unable to move, to miss one of these. So just kind of bear with me. I'm going to try and keep the talking to a minimum. I don't know if that's possible for me, but I am going to try. That is really pretty. It is light, it is bright, it is not super punchy, but it gives just a little bit in the inner corner. All right, next I think I want to go in with this really pretty, like, light green shade over here, this pastel one called Paradise. So I am going to pick that up with a Singe Beauty 202 brush, and I am going to pop this into my crease and kind of bring it over to that pink shade, just blending everything together. Starting off this look, I am going to add a little bit of depth, but not a whole lot. Now, this was the first Ensley Rain palette I ever ordered. I don't think it's the first one I ever played with. I got this one on pre-order, and I believe Cold Moon came in before this one because I got that one on launch, but this was the first one I ever purchased. I watched this brand like a hawk last year. I was watching the color stories and just how beautiful they were and the shimmers and the looks that people were creating, but I had to wait for that perfect color story. It's so funny because for me to try a brand for the first time, it has to be like the absolute color story, but then after that, it doesn't take much to convince me to buy anything else. But I remember they came out with this color story and it was in the winter, and I just thought, oh, that is a beautiful palette, but I talked myself out of it. I was like, you don't need any more pastels. You have plenty of them. You don't need them. Like, you're good to go. And the more I saw people play with it, the more looks I saw them create, I was like, nope, I need that palette. So I ordered it on pre-order and I love it. I haven't looked back since. Okay, let's deepen up this outer corner just a smidge. So I think I'm gonna go in with this shade over here. This one is called Lost World. So I am going to pick that up with a BK Beauty 205 brush, and I'm just gonna start to stamp this into my outer corner, building up a little bit of depth and definition. This shade is more like a blue green shade. It's not quite a true green, but it's also not a blue. It's a little bit more on the teal side, but still absolutely beautiful. And I think I'm going to have to deepen up this outer corner just a smidge. It's an instinct. As much as I want to keep this on the lighter side, I think I need to. But I'm going to bring this down onto my lower lash line as well and bring it over and just kind of blend everything and wrap it around. All right, so I'm just going back in with that first green shade that I used in my crease and just fluffing it along the rest of my lower lash line, making sure that everything is nice and blended. We don't have any harsh lines or anything like that. But like I was saying, this is the first Ensley Rain palette that I ever ordered, and I have quickly fallen in love with this brand. I can't say they're an absolute favorite yet, just because I still have minimal in my collection from the brand. I don't pick up every single release. I know that they relaunched some like reformulated palettes that they had done last year. I didn't pick any of those up, and I've only been playing with this brand since like January, so I haven't even been playing with it for a year. But I will say they have impressed me immensely with the quality in their palettes. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of is they like to do like chunkier shimmer shades, and I'm not a big fan of a chunkier shimmer shade just because I feel like they can really accentuate texture on my lid. I prefer a smoother shimmer shade on my lid, so that's one of the only things that makes me a little bit more hesitant when they have a release, is it has to be something that I'm really into, and they do have a new one that they have sneak peeked that looks really interesting. But let's go ahead and deepen up this outer corner just a little bit. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I feel like I need to. So I'm going to go in with this really pretty deep green shade down here. This one is called Palladian, I think. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I apologize if I'm butchering names, but I am going to pick that one up with a Singe Beauty, or I'm sorry, not a Singe Beauty, a BK Beauty 211 brush, and I am very, very, very lightly going to build up a little bit of depth out here in the outer corner. Now, since I already have these pastel shades down, it is going to wash out this shade just a little bit, which is fine because I don't want to have too much depth out here. But if you really want like the maximum payoff of your deeper shades, always go in with those first, because pastels have so much white pigmentation to them. It can be really hard to build on top of them, especially with a really deep shade. But see how that's adding just a little bit out there? That's what I want. Just enough that I don't feel so washed out and just blank canvas. All right, so my eyes are primed with my NYX Glitter Primer. We're gonna put a couple of these shimmers all over the lid. Now, I do think I wanna leave my inner corner matte, but I definitely wanna play with two different shades on my lid. So, like I said, I want to play with this shade right here. I'm also kind of debating this one over here as well. So let's kind of do a little swatch of each one and hold them up to my eye. Oh, decisions are so, so hard. Those are both beautiful, and I don't know which one I want to do. I think we're gonna do this one. We're gonna go with my first instinct. I need to play with this palette more. There are so many looks that I wanna do. I wanna do something really, really dark with this palette, but that's for a whole nother day. Let's go into the shade up here. This one is called Moonrise. I am getting thrown off of track, y'all. But this is the shade Moonrise. It is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm gonna pop this all over my lid and I'm gonna bring it over to about there. I'm gonna leave that little tiny space open in my inner corner just so I can bring in another shade to kind of blend it into that pink shade. But look at how beautiful that is. This is one of these smoother shimmers in the palette and just, it's so reflective and so shifty and sparkly and absolutely beautiful. And I just love the way these lay down on the lid. Again, like I said, they do like their little chunkier shades, but they are still really pretty. They're just not necessarily a favorite of mine. Now I am going back with whatever is left on my finger and just kind of tapping it on my brow bone, bringing up that sparkle just a little bit. I will turn down the lights like I've been doing in a lot of my videos lately to show you all the sparkle and the shift of everything. So when we get there, you'll see what I'm talking about, how it's kind of like a sheared out sparkle on the lid. But let's go ahead and pop into something for this little inner portion over here. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do this pink one over here. I think it would tie into the rest of the look and the inner corner really well, but this one is really pretty too. But this one doesn't have as much of a pink shift as this one does. This one has more of like that pink and that green shift to it. Like, let me see if I can show y'all by moving the palette around all of those shifts that that shade has. Yeah, okay, we're gonna go in with this one right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick, which one is that? Okay, I put the palette down in front of me and I was like, oh, which one was that? It was this one right here, which is called Faye. Okay, so I'm gonna pick that up on my pinky finger and I'm going to pop this right here and kind of blend it into that pink shade and back onto my lid. Oh yeah, that is beautiful. That blended everything together absolutely beautifully. I could have done that shade on its lid, on the lid just by itself, and it would have been beautiful. Alright y'all, so this is the completed look and I think this turned out absolutely beautiful. I love how light and bright and just like airy this look is, but it still has that little bit of depth in the outer corner without being too much. And the shimmers on the lid are so beautiful. They are shifty, they are sparkly, and I love the way they laid down and kind of blended together. But let me show you what I used to finish off this look so we can turn on the lights and you can see all that for yourself. So in my lower waterline, I went in with the Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal Liner. This is in the shade Seafoam and it matches this eye look perfectly. I love it. And then I lined my lid with my ZC liquid liner, and for mascara I actually went in with my Victoria Beckham Future Lash Mascara. This is a tubing mascara. I don't normally go for tubing mascaras, but since I'm like a little under the weather, my eyes are starting to water, I can already feel it, I decided it would be better to go in with like a fail proof mascara. This isn't the best for like length and volume, but it adds a little bit of color to my lashes. But let's go ahead and turn down these lights and show you all these sparkles and these shifts. Alright y'all, so that is going to complete this week's Throwback Thursday video. I hope y'all enjoyed it and it gave you the inspiration that you were looking for with this one. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Do you have this palette? Are you planning on picking it up? What is your favorite Ensley Rain palette if you have several of them? And I also want to know which palette you voted for. Let's have that conversation, light up that comment section, and as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.